Oh my god, have I posted stuff everywhere? Hopefully. Pull up the streaming menu for this. Okay. Don't know who's going to pop in. I mean, I've been gone for a while. It is also a weird hour. I don't know. It does feel bad that I'm not producing videos. Hopefully I can turn that around at some point. But I also kind of want to refigure out what I want to do with the channel. Team overview videos and the deep dives, I don't think they're doing it. But yeah, let's get into it. Behold. So I'm trying to plan for this narrative event. And like some things aren't really coming together. I contacted the person I found who had 9 screamers to try to like get more screamers. Because end of the day, this Daemons hybrid list, I feel like it only works if you have access to like a ton of these guys. Right? Like just give me a ton of screamers. But the first mission, which we're playing tomorrow, is supposed to involve this combat patrol. This is the White Dwarf Demon Thousand Sun Combat Patrol. Normally, the squad of Rubiks is a 10-man, but according to the rules, you can patrol team them, which allows you to take 5 and 5. Specifically, the guns go in one squad with the sorcerer, and then the flamers go in the other squad. And then you can, of course, attach the sorcerer to either. You will most likely attach him to the guns because he does provide lethal hits. A key element to this list is that the screamers and the flamers all have deep strike. That's like a hugely important concept. Because it does mean in a game, technically, I don't have to put any of these big demons on the field. Let me grab the book. This is going to be a bit of a weird one, I think, tournament-wise. Or, not tournament. I got to get that out of my mind. Narrative-wise. I'm going to try to get 2 games in tomorrow. That's going to be big. First game is just 1 battle line and your leader, which I honestly think I'm going to do well in. It's not going to be like a mission. It's a custom thing, so I'm not too sure what that's going to mean. Supposedly, all 3 of the Chaos players are going to be there on the same day, tomorrow. So, Emperor's Children, me with my Thousand Sons, and then one of the other players that likes to play Khorne, who's, like, that's his whole thing. He loves Khorne. So I'm wondering, because it's against 2 Astra Militarum and 1 Space Wolves player, I think they might be pitting us against each other. Like, Space Wolves and Astra Militarum, and then all Chaos in a single map. I think that might be a thing. And I got to remember to take my terrain. I got to actually pull my terrain out tonight, because I don't know if there's going to be enough terrain at the store for everyone. So I gotta grab a bunch of stuff before I get moving. Sadly, I use a lot of terrain in my displays for my armies and my squads from Kill Team. I might need to figure out how to get around that. I might need to just get regular, like, acrylic stands and stuff to display them on, so I can at least have access to all the terrain. I'm kind of glad my buddy got me back my big pieces of terrain because he was cleaning up. That should hopefully help out a little bit. But yeah, so the leader, I named him for myself. I mean, in here he's Madrax. But if I get the combat patrol mission in tomorrow, I got to think of this because this is an interesting... It actually kind of pisses me off a little bit, this combat patrol. Because this combat patrol's concept is better than the Thousand Sons detachment. Just in general, it's better than the Thousand Sons full-scale detachment. Specifically because the Cabal check does include the Scintillating Legion as part of, like, what happens, right? And I think even the Cabal is better. The start of your shooting phase, one model from your army with this ability can attempt one ritual from those listed below. That would be the Sork, and that would be the Squad Lead. Those are the two people that can do this. Only one can do it per phase. It's the same basic concept as Cabal. 2 dice, see the result, debate if you want to do a third. The third one doesn't really add value because there is no, like, crit spell cast. But it costs 5 and 6, and it's reroll hit rolls of 1 for the first one. That's on a 5, and then move an extra d6. That's the 6 cost, or the 6 cast. Which is kind of crazy. The idea of being able to put that on demons. Specifically the flamers. Because then you can send the flamers up. I think they're 9-inch movement with fly. And they're considered infantry. So they just go through a wall 9 inches. But stay out of range of enemy overwatch. And then hit them with temporal surge in the shooting phase. To then move them an extra d6 through the wall. To then see the targets and then shoot them. Without any kind of recompense, which that's my favorite thing about temporal surge. It's kind of anti-Overwatch. You have to have a specific ability that claims it can react to a normal move, and that it doesn't limit itself to the movement phase or the charge phase or whatever. Because like I said, this is the shooting phase. All this happens at the start of the shooting phase. Let me double check here, though. To do so, select one model from your army with this ability, attempt the ritual. No model from your army is manifested as a turn, then take a psychic test. If the model is not destroyed, the combined total of all dice rolled during the test is the psychic test result. Because it will suffer D3 mortals if it fails. Which actually makes me think. Squad Lead Sorcerer. Oh, they didn't do it. Everything in the Rubric squad has 2 wounds. I'm pretty sure, though. Let me double check the codex. Yep. Rubric Marine Sorcerers in squads have +1 wound. They don't in the Combat Patrol. Sag. Still, though, it's a risk. If I cast it with the Squad Lead, I cannot roll a 3 or above, or else he dies. Oh, no, wait. If one or more doubles or triplets were rolled during the Channel the Warp test, the model's unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. This actually picks up Rubric Marines. If this model is not destroyed, the combined total of all dice rolled during the test is the psychic test result. If this equal or exceeds the warp charge value of ritual being attempted, that model manifests that ritual and you resolve it. So this is interesting. Destiny Ruin. So it is until the end of the phase. So even though Destiny's Ruin is like, yeah, Scintillating Legion can use this. It doesn't matter because it's just the shooting phase. The combined total of the dice rolled, if that is equal or exceeds the warp charge value, model manifests, and it has to be resolved. Man, Cabal just makes things not interesting. It is what it is. I mean, it's all for balance, but warp charge allowing me to reroll hit rolls of 1 on both Thousand Suns and Scintillating Legion. At first, you're like, oh, that's not bad. Reroll hit rolls of 1. That's great. Well, from the demons, the lampreys, the screamers have 0 ranged attacks, and the flamer ranged attacks are torrent, so you don't need to actually roll to hit. So why are you telling me Scintillating Legion can get the rerolls? That's just obnoxious. But Temporal Surge allowing it, that's a big one. Temporal Surge is huge. It's the same concept as sort of the old one. It's a D6 move. I really wish it was a solid number, but that only exists in the crit now. You need to actually fully crit that for that to work. At the end of the turn, that unit is not eligible to declare a charge. It's literally how you send flamers in. Put them on the other side of a wall so the enemy can't shoot. Then spend the Cabal, and boom. Flamers pop around a corner and flamer something. Which you think is awesome. You would think that. Except for the fact that their flamers are just D6, 4, 1, 1. Which means you're going to have 3 D6 at strength 4, AP 1, damage 1. Maybe you kill 1 Space Marine with that. Maybe. I honestly don't think it has too much value in this combat patrol. It's more about getting something to an objective, I think. That's the key thing, which none of the demons need to care. I mean, Screamers are 14-inch move. Flamers are 9-inch. Everything else is going to be 6. Man, it's a struggle. Because, like, I kind of get the combat patrol has to be balanced where it's not, like, super strong. But my issue is almost all of their combat patrols feel like every element about their rules equate to a very fine-tuned monstrosity. Like, everything that I've ever read about, like, the Space Marine basic combat patrol, about even kind of like the Votan patrol, like all these other patrols that exist, they feel so perfect, if that makes sense. They feel so like everything works together. The idea that you could put a specific Terminator leader into a Terminator squad that gives them all sustained, that when you look at it, it's built in so that they do better against marked targets. Like, everything has its purpose. Over here, the core purposes I have are, that's the Overwatch target if I'm going to Overwatch. Because rather than being 3d6, 4-1-1, it's 5d6, 4-1-1. Just way more value for the buck, which means the Flamers themselves are a screening unit because they can fall back and shoot. They're not anything to like laugh at. There's like no Hammer squad in this list though. The Hammer is the Sorcerer. And it's not even that good. 6 attacks, 3 up to hit, which, yeah, you're going to need to mark targets for this guy. Strength 5, which, that's good. It's fine. AP 1, damage 1. That's hot garbage. You're going to play that into Space Marine Army and just be done. The trick is it's Psychic with sustained hits 3, and that's incredible. Sustained hits 3, that's awesome. But there's no ignore cover. And I want to say at full scale, it's actually an AP2 attack. Because in a lot of instances, the thing that the Thousand Suns got to try to like separate them from other armies is AP2 is the average, like across the board. The Flamers, I think, are still AP1. But the bolt guns, which I have, should be AP2. They are not. Let me double check. Let me check the Sorcerer. No, Sorcerer is AP1. Which sucks even more, because even once I get the Infernal Mark that allows the squad to ignore cover, apparently the Infernal Marks don't work on the leaders of the squads that attach. Which, that's insane to me. Let's see, Inferno Bolt Guns. Inferno Bolt Guns, AP2 in full scale game. No, Inferno Bolt Gun, AP2. Okay, so I gotta remember that. Because AP2 is just ignore cover with more words. That's like the whole point of it. Or less words, technically. There is some interaction that can negate it, though. Yeah, like, I don't... Again, we're looking at the White Dwarf for this team. Because I'm trying to figure out... Temporal Surge, I feel like you're mostly screening with the Demons, even though the Demons are still all Toughness 4, which that's not that great. They're Wounds 3 with 4+ in Vulns. But, like, I feel like 9 times out of 10, the hammers I run into for melee, you can't put 3 Flamers into them and expect them to live long enough to fall back and shoot. But it's a better option than letting your 5 Rubric Flamers die to just screen with the Scintillating Legion Flamers. It's just better. So maybe I'll think about that. Let's see. Missions-wise, I checked these out. One of them changes the leader's ranged weapons to pistol precision, which means he gets the ability to shoot his regular pistol on top of his psychic attack, and they all have precision. So maybe if my opponent has a weak enough leader unit that I think I can get to quickly, maybe that's good. I have to kind of combo that with the secondary that requires me to kill an enemy's leader. If I can kill an enemy's leader by, what is it? Within the first 3 battle rounds, if I kill their leader, 10 victory points, just full on. If my opponent literally just has 1 leader standing out in the open and is just absolutely on its own, with like maybe a garbage squad of bodyguard, and I'm pretty sure my sorcerer could 1-tap it on his own, maybe we do it. I doubt we do it, but maybe we do it. Oh, thanks, man. I'm attempting to prepare for a narrative event. I just haven't been really streaming much about tabletop or making too many videos on my YouTube. So I figured I'd kind of bust in, at least go over some stuff, because we might spend a little bit of time after I take a really serious look at the White Dwarf team and all of its rules to maybe try to create a 1,000 point narrative focused Demons list, Demon Thousand Sun hybrid list. Because it is a garbage detachment. If you're at all familiar with 40k and the idea of competitive, yeah, this is not. This detachment is one of the worst detachments the Thousand Suns have. And I need to ask tomorrow if the guy is cool with me using a Lord of Change in the full 1,000 point list. I really want to do it for one of my games that are later on. It's hugely narrative. So maybe like the last game I'll be able to bring him in. But we'll see what he says. Oh, the Nurglings are cute. You play the Space Marine 2 stuff? Dude, that was a huge update it just got. And it got Mutalith Vortex Beasts, which... It's these guys. It's this army. I have 3 of those. What's up, Arturo? Good, so my streaming stuff's working. It was acting funny the past couple days when I was testing it. Let's see. So my primary objective. This was a wordy one, so let's try to go over it. So if I don't think I can kill my opponent's leader within like 3 turns or even by the end of the game, the reality that I need to take part in is that my leader needs to provide shoot in turns where they advanced or fell back. That's huge. And the ability to pass all desperate escape tests and be able to move through enemy units. That's also huge. Because the reality here is the sorcerer is going to need to be combined with the gunners. He provides them lethal hits, which is huge. And then for this squad to be able to advance and shoot and fall back and shoot. Oh my god. Oh, nice. You do the lore channels? There's so many lore channels.
Poggers.
Oh, thanks for the follow. So this is core. The demons, like the basic demons, are all able to be put into reserve for deep strike. I don't know if that's necessary, though. It limits them to coming in on turn 2. Maybe the flamers. I can see the flamers, but there's almost no reason to put the screamers out, even because they move 14 inches. I'm attending a narrative event being run by one of the people, oh god, hiccups, people that go to the store often. He's been wanting to do a narrative event for a while now. He's finally getting the effort together for the next 2 months to run this event. Multiple games. Should be getting in hopefully 2 games tomorrow. And then it's like 1 or 2 games a week after. And it's fully narrative. To my understanding, EXP tracking. The limits are no named characters. So no Ahriman, no... in this detachment, it would be Kairos. So no named characters. No Titans. No Knights. The Knights are out. Technically, index demons are out. But these aren't index. These are regular. And it's going to be full narrative to the point where I think we even start rolling in the basic event, which is going to be this battle line unit and my leader. And that's it. Like, this is the first game. This is the second game. And I think we have to track wounds, which this is the fun part for me. The way this detachment works is I can take half demons. It'll be 1,000-point games, so I can take 500 points worth of demons. This guy's 250 points right here, right? The Birdman, big old bird, 250 points. So he'll be half of that if I ever get to that point. And they drastically lowered the cost of Blue Horrors for Thousand Suns because they don't have OC. It's a whole thing. But I need to track wound rolls, XP gain, all of that. Demons do not take wound rolls. Demons do not gain EXP. And I've had people go like, that's not that good because it's like, and I'm going to try to take pictures and post them up on our Discord, Arturo. But I've heard people be like, oh, I mean, that means they're not going to get like +1 to hit. They're not going to get like, you know, oh, add 1 to charge rolls and stuff. And it's like, okay, but are you as an individual going to be completely fine with, let's say, running into a pink horror squad or a whole squad of screamers or something with your it can die and take a wound roll squad when it's just going to come back for me? I'm just going to use it again, unadulterated. And the core thing I need to do is keep my Marines alive. I might even use some rhinos in this just to make sure they don't go. I could have a full army that is like just gaining EXP. And dude, the rules for narrative for Thousand Suns. What we got? I've always found the Rubric Marine design. It makes a relatively small change to the design of regular Space Marines armor, but is so defining. Oh yeah, dude. Like, Thousand Sun armor is just so cool. Although every time I look at them, I think if they ever face towards a really strong headwind, they're going to get knocked over with their giant sail hat. But that is what it is. But We come to here, and I can change detachment while I'm playing. I'm not planning to. I don't want to. But, like, so this is how I level up my leaders. Basically, on top of the EXP and wound rolls that occur normally, I gain, based on how many different cult members I have, like the chance at getting lore. What is it? Lore and Arcana. So, lore, Arcana. Once I get to this quantity on a unit, I pay the requisition point to level it to give it this ability permanently. Sometimes these abilities are like one-off, like the moment you level it, oh, you get to resurrect or remove battle scars from something. So you can kind of pocket it and hold on to it till later and then be like, oh, I got to get rid of all my battle scars, and then you can spend it. I'm running, I want to say manipulation. Because there's not too many of these that work with demons. There's a few that are just like universally good. Manipulation, specifically, which I liked. Let's see. He gains XP, lore, and arcana for each different agenda my opponent achieved. So if my opponent's kicking my ass, he's leveling. He's leveling really well. And the best part, if I lose, I roll a d6 for each model from my Crusade army that with this benefit. And if one or more of those results are a 4-up, I actually won. I get the victory bonus instead of just the loss. Dude, I love this idea. This is like a dumb, fun idea. There's actually one of these cults that just straight up says you get to pick who's attacker and defender without rolling for it, which is dumb because it's just who sets up first. Although, if you go with a lot of, I guess, infiltrators, it's not a bad idea. But there's just so much to keep track of. Oh, and while I'm doing all this like upgrading and, you know, cool stuff with mutating my leader and things, eventually, if I roll really poorly, he becomes a chaos spawn. Yeah. I think he keeps a lot of his stuff. Remove the unit from the order of battle, add a new 1,000 Suns chaos spawn unit. The new unit has the same number of battle honors and XP as the unit it replaces, but it does lose arcana and lore points. But if it has like a ton of bonuses, it's one chaos spawn that could have like all these incredible like feel no pain functions that are superior to what it normally gets, crazy increases to its advanced rolls, tons of attacking rerolls and melee. Like, oh my god. If I do an unmodified saving throw of 6 on it, the attacker takes a mortal wound. Oh my god. Like, I love it. It's so stupid, but I love it. But yeah. Mission-wise, though. So, the way this works in Combat Patrol, I have to have one squad of both 1,000 Suns and Demons. While an objective marker that you control has one or more 1,000 Suns unit from your army, excluding Battle Shock, within range of it, and one or more Scintillating Legion unit from your army, excluding Battle Shock, within range of it, it is cursed. So this is not a persistent. I have to just leave them on it. And I can do it in my own home base, too. This is so I can just passively earn stuff. At the end of my turn, I score 1 VP. If there are one or more objective markers cursed, at the end of my opponent's turn, I score 2 VP if there are one or more objective markers cursed. Wait a second. Okay. So I can hold my own objective, and at the end of my turn, it's 1. At the end of their turn, it's 2. And then I just play the come at me game. I don't know. It is going to be, it's most likely going to be Chaos versus Imperial, although Chaos does fight itself, so there's a chance. Oh, let me pull up the roster for Saturday. Narrative campaign. So, Saturday, there is a Space Wolves player, 2 Astra Militarum players, And then me, Thousand Sons, World Eaters, and an Emperor's Children list. So it's safe to assume that the 2 Astra Militarum teams and the Space Wolves will be fighting one each of the Chaos players. Tomorrow, it looks like it's one of the offbeat days, where there's going to be an Admech, a Votan, and a Black Templar. Real quick for the people on YouTube. You guys don't hear music, do you? Or do you? I've had to like reassess all of OBS, and I don't know if it's running the right audio lines. It does say track 2, which shouldn't involve audio for music. So if I'm up against Space Wolves, which flavor, yes, most likely. Okay, good. Well, good and also bad, but it is YouTube. I can't really play music over there without getting screwed. It's good and it's bad. Because Space Wolves are a rushdown army, what's good is I don't have to rush up, which the other combat patrol for Thousand Sons that exists normally, that one does have to rush up, and I hate that. I hate that about it. It has a sequence where you have to have, like, Marines on the back line in your turn, and then they have to, like, move, advance, and possibly even temporal surge onto an objective in middle to continue scoring. It's so stupid. I hate it so much. Whereas this, if I do the corrupting congregation, that's it. Like, I just leave a squad of flamers and my flame squad on the back line. That way I have like a layer. And then as long as I can just fight tooth and nail to hold that back line, my 2 squads of screamers and my Sork with on foot Marines, they'll be able to like rush across the field. They'll be able to get to objectives, possibly prevent the opponent from scoring their side missions or even their mains. I think that's going to be the overall play, because these do come with the actual in-game ability to move over units and do mortals, which is really good. Well, it can be good in bulk. It's not so good one-off. Because basically for every single one of these units that I'm able to kind of be like, and I'm on, and then I'm an inch off, I roll, and if I get a 4, it's a mortal wound. It's not great. By any means, it's not great. If my opponent has armor, which there are 2 people who are bringing Astra Militarum, so that's armor, I think, unless they're bringing the horses. Then both of my do I even need to deep strike these guys? Like, this is kind of an issue now that I'm thinking about it. Because I have 2 missions. I either go to assassinate my opponent's leader, which I'd probably put stuff up in deep strike for. You know, you land the flamer squad nearby, you rapid ingress one of these, and then you just go for the leader. I think the best thing, though, comparatively to the other list, the other combat patrol, are the stratagems this one has access to. It has a fight phase stratagem that is pretty much, if you kill one of my units, I think it's each time a Psyker or Scintillating Legion model from that unit is destroyed. So it's either squad lead, this guy, or any Psychic. So this is kind of why you want the Demons to like take the brunt of the first wave. Because once you go in, I spend a command point, and if I roll, for every one of them that dies, I roll a dice. 2 through 4, 1 mortal. 5 up, 2 mortals. So I can kind of soften my enemy up for just attacking me and fighting me. But the big one is Curse Touch. And Curse Touch is why these things, the Screamers, need to do really well. Because this increases their damage stat by 1. And oh my god, Screamers are the thing in melee, especially against monsters and vehicles. Because that makes them 3 attacks each, 3 up to hit, strength 6, AP 2, damage 3. It's like a mini plasma cannon. Just like a baby plasma cannon coming in on you. Anti-vehicle, anti-monster, 4+. And then strength 6 on top of it is just like anything that isn't a monster or a vehicle is most likely not enough toughness. These guys shred. And the fact that they mortal initially and then go in after the fact, oh. What is grenades for me, though? That's going to be big. Anything? Nothing with grenades? No, I don't have access to grenades. They gave grenades to almost all the sorcerers in the actual codex, so that kind of sucks. Is what it is, I guess. Infantry, beasts. Got to remember that for people who have anti-infantry, no one really has anti-beast. I don't think that exists. It might exist on like one random weapon. 4 up invulnerables for the demons. Leadership 8, which is garbage. OC 1. Wounds 3. T4. Invulnerable of 5 on the rubrics, of course. Invulnerable of 5 on the sorcerer, which, whatever, I guess. I think this might actually do well, though. I feel like they're going to put me into the Space Wolves, which is going to suck. What does the Space Wolf Combat Patrol look like? Hang on. Hold the phone. Let me pull that up. Also, the head of this event is typing, so we'll see if he drops some important information here in a second. Nope, stop typing. Combat Patrol. I don't know if there's another one, because I do feel like there was another Space Wolves Combat Patrol, but then they got released as an actual codex. Is there a second one? Death Guard, Dark Angels. There's Space Wolves Thorax, Void Hunters. Let me see. Is this the old one? This is the old one, I think. It's got basic Space Wolves, and it's got like the baby carrier knot. Raven Guard, Imperial Fists. Oh no, this might actually be the normal. Oh, yep, he posted a giant amount of information. Current Space Wolves Combat Patrol. Is a squad of Terminators. It looks like some Wolflings, some melee variant people. Yeah, this is all Rushdown. What's this called? Why is it not in the frickin' Combat Patrol section? Wait, is there only 1,000 Sons Combat Patrol in here? Ooh. Chaos Space Marines, Tyranids, Genestealer Cults, Dark Angels, Adeptus Sororitas. I'm only seeing the 1,000 Sons Combat Patrol info. Yo, did they not put it on their website and instead just put it in their app? Let me take a look. Space Wolves. So it's good melee. Terminators are impossible to shift unless you have things built for it. Yep, Askers. I don't have access to it on the website. Let me just double check, because there is 2 Chaos Space Marine ones. Votan, which that's important. Death Guard, Thousand Suns, World Eaters, Dark Angels, Tyranid, Space Marines, Space Wolves, Thorax, Space Marine Strike, Blood Angels, Harlequins. That's the new one. Armiger Trailblazer. Raven. Yeah, they just didn't put it on their website, but it is on the phone. So I'm going to show you one of them, which it's still usable. The rules still exist. The person I'm playing against could be playing this. Okay, here we go. He could be playing this. This isn't that scary. These are Reavers. Looks like basic tactical and a dreadnought. This is or one of those like half Z dreadnoughts. This is probably the big deal for me to prevent from getting forward. It does have melee, it looks like. I'm guessing this is some kind of autocannon. And this might be an anti-fly missile launcher. Well, let's check that, actually. So, those are actually heavy stubbers, which, that's garbage. It does have the autocannon, though. I'm guessing the stubbers are somewhere else, but it does have the autocannon, heavy bolter, and then just a basic grenade launcher. This isn't that scary. The melee, that is scary. It's also 12 wounds. If I need this to die, I have to put both of my screamers into it, and there's a good chance I don't kill it on the first go. Because it's what? It's a 3-up save. I'm AP 2, 3, 4, 5. Dude, I don't understand what it is at this store that I play at, but every Space Marine player, like, I put all their armor saves on 4s and 5s, and they still don't fail. Like, I played 2 games in a row. I played a 2K game and a 3K game. Same day. Same goddamn day. Oh, it's a little hard to read the text. I can zoom in. Same goddamn day, all right? Playing them as Emperor's Children, which is a bunch with the Noise Marines. It's all -1 AP. Ignore cover. As long as I see your units, I'm hitting them. You're going to be rolling 4s. I swear to you, I put like 30 shots with the sustain functionality into a squad of 5 Space Marines. I killed 1 Space Marine by the end of it. 1. Every time I would roll out and be like, all right, you got 5 wounds on the big cannon. And he's like, well, what's the AP? 1? All right, so I got to roll 4 ups. And he'd roll, and he'd get all 4s. And then, like, I roll the rest, and he gets all 4s. And he just never stopped rolling 4s. Like, it just kept going. No. Everything you have here is what you have. These are the stubbers. So its chest has the stubbers. This would be the autocannon, according to the picture. And then the grenade launcher rack on the back. And I guess there's a heavy bolter somewhere. That's the autocannon. Stubs. Oh. Now I remember. The heavy bolter is right here. It's a gun that this hand picks up and then shoots. It has the RoboCop gun. I completely forgot it has a RoboCop gun. Oh yeah, dude. You want to be this guy. Just like chilling. You don't want to be the half dead ones that are just stuck in there. You don't like the RoboCop gun? Holy God, this thing is a Scout 8. I just noticed that. That's insane. For a dreadnought in a friggin' combat patrol, which is just 2 boards next to each other, to have like a, hey, I'm halfway across the map move. And then an 8-inch normal move? Oh my god. Okay, this is actually a huge threat. Toughness 8 isn't bad. My Screamer's still wounded on 4s with their anti-vehicle. I could easily chew through this. One really good Screamer roll with 1 command point for the 3 damage instead of 2. This thing's dead. You don't like the idea of a Power Fist grabbing a heavy bolter and then shooting it? Do you think he says, "You're coming with me, dead or alive," or something? Dude, this is a workout. This is a workout moving at breakneck speeds. I don't think, yeah. On foot, units designed with micro, like, jump packs meant to help, like, cause them to glide and be way more agile. Still not moving anywhere near as far as the tactical Super Scout couch. Oh no, I'm not. Yeah, an Arturo. I'm not knocking it. It is what it is. This is less of a Power Fist though. I mean, it's an Invictor Fist. It does look more like a regular robot hand than what a normal Power Fist looks like. This feels a little bit, I don't know how old you people are and what you grew up with, but Roundhouse, the freaking like gas powered recliner chair that just like comes ripping out of the side. Six inches. These guys don't get scout. Oath of Moment though, universal. But yeah, the actual new Space Wolves aren't on the website. It's only in the app, which is crazy to me. Because they get a Terminator leader, it looks like. Oh no, he's a melee leader. He's just a basic leader. Squad of Terminators abilities, Deep Strike, of course. Each time an attack targets that unit, if the strength of the characteristic of that attack is greater than the toughness, they get the same exact benefit as Scarab Occult Terminators, -1 to wound rolls if your strength is higher than their toughness. Okay. Although I think Scarab Occult is now always -1. It's like way better. Mastercrafted weapons, Power Fists. There's a lot of damage. Dev wounds on the Great Axe, 3 attacks, 4 attacks. I think it's a 4-man or a 5-man Terminator squad. Yeah. 5-man Terminator squad, a shield bearer leader for the chainsword squad, which provides the unit what? This model is destroyed. It has not fought this phase. Oh, he has revive on death. That's all he comes with. That's fine. The Wolfen. Forced desperate escape test, but my one squad passes those automatically. No, I think it's just an oversight because they just put the new ones up. Like they just put the new Raven Guard and Imperial Fist ones, as well as the Salamanders. Because the Salamanders, this is the new one, right? Is this the old one? Still Oath of Moment. Goddamn Oath of Moment. Reroll hit rolls. Melee weapons equipped by the bearer have sustained ones. That doesn't matter. This one matters. If it's this guy, character, monster, and vehicle, select one. At the end of the battle, you score 8 VP if that enemy model is destroyed. This is actually fine for me because I have one character. And I can keep him safe. At the end of your opponent's turn, you score 3 VP if you control at least one objective marker in No Man's Land. And you control at least one of many objective markers in No Man's Land as your opponent does. At least as many. Okay. Because I know there's missions where they do start to, like, do weird stuff. So in this instance, if I'm too afraid to move forward, I take the one where I get 3 VP as long as I'm holding my own objective with a squad of demons and a squad of Thousand Sons. And then I just poke and prod until I possibly prevent him from getting this. But what does the leader get? Select the enemy unit. Each time the bearer makes an attack, add 1 to the wound roll. Oh, dear God. 1 enemy unit. Each time... Okay, the bearer. Not the squad, the bearer. That's not bad. If it was him and his squad, that would be horrifying. You target the bearer's unit with heroic intervention stratagem for 0 CP. That's pretty good. Do so even if you have already used that stratagem. So you get this guy. Where is he? I think it's this guy. You get this guy, and I think his squad. I think, can he lead Reavers? No, he leads the Intercessor squad. Okay, no, this is terrible. Because he's leading a bunch of people who have bolt guns. You don't want that. This can be split into 2 squads of 5, though. Are there melee variants? Chainsword. So that's the squad lead, and then everyone else is bolt guns? Oh, no. Yeah, this isn't that good. The one I'm looking at on my phone is actually really good. Speaking of which, army rules. So this one doesn't have Oath of Moment, it looks like. Yeah. Maybe. Oh, no. Oath of Moment. Standard Space Marine. Enhancements. Lone Wolf. The bearer has the lone operative and stealth ability. Or add 1 to charge rolls. Okay. Strats. For the Bloodclaw unit, your army that has not been selected to fight until the end of the phase each time. So, ooh. He gets precision on a critical hit. That's not good. That's like mediocre at best. Defiant Resistance, 1 Wolfguard Battle Leader unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Till the end of phase, Wolfguard Battle Leader model. Oh, feel no pain 5 up. Wolfguard. That's the Terminators getting a feel no pain of 5. I basically have to not care. I have to screen for the Terminator Deep Strike and then not care about anything else. I don't know how I do that. I think I have to put mediocre. I think I have to put my screamers. I think like the way I have to set this up is the Flamer squad is the one that pokes and prods. Because there's no way he doesn't put me up against the Space Wolves player. I mean, that's the battle. Space Wolves versus Thousand Sons. That is the historic battle. I think these guys sit on the objective. I think the Flamers cover the front for stuff coming in. And then the Screamers hold about 9 inches out on each side. And then I just hold and poke. That's it. That's all I'm doing all game. Hold and poke. And he has to bring his Terminators down by turn 3. If he can't find a good spot, oh well. So in games where that happens, where I'm dealing with Terminators and I need to screen, I think I have to put everything on the field. Unless I'm going first, which I won't know until we get into the game. So I think I have to just assume that I need to go first. And then do the Screamer line. For screening left and right. Flamers about like there, like a little bit up. Oh, you guys can't see this. But yeah, this is the Pokey squad. The screens left and right. And this. These would be at the back of the objective, I think. At least one of them would be towed on for the back of the objective. And then this would have to be towed on to the front of the objective. Because that's how you corrupt. As long as these are within range and these are within range, I'm scoring 3 VP every single time a round goes by, where it gets to my opponent's turn and both of these are actually on the field. This serves as a roadblock somewhere up front. It pops out, prevents enemies from sprinting all the way to the back line. And then around turn 3, after the Terminators have dropped, if everything works out, Screamers can start to move. Because, dear God, feel no pains in the fight phase. Your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit ends a normal advance fall back. Ooh, reactive move. It's within 9 inches of that enemy movement. Make a normal move. Oh, D3? That's garbage. God, D3 roll on a normal move for a reactive? I could see it working like once in a while, but 90% of the time it's just garbage. I think this will be good. I like this a lot more than the new Combat Patrol. The new one just being, like, it entirely revolves around the Demon Prince. It entirely revolves around, I think one of the versions, you have to keep your Rubric Marines alive. If they all die off, you're just screwed. Which absolutely sucks. Now, Astra Militarum is a whole other story. Because I don't know which combat patrols they're bringing. Because there should be 2. Talendari, Grey Knights, Adeptus, Templars, Mordecai, Blood Angels, Astra. I wonder if there's like 3 Adeptus Mechanicus ones on here. What the hell's happening? Yep, same thing. Astra Militarum only has 1 on the website. It doesn't have the 1 on the app. That's insane, dude. That's actually crazy.
Poggers.
The hell? Thanks for the $2, Andy. What's up? So this is the Astra Militarum squad I'm used to. This thing's annoying. They usually just run it down mid. Screamers can easily handle this. But the trick is, this guy being the leader, I don't know. This makes me want to go for him because I think he's what? T3, 3 wounds? And I would get precision, which allows me to go for the character. The only character in the squad is the leader, Karsk. So if I can get within flamer range from my army lead, which is like 18 inches or something, 24 inches. If I can get within 24 inches and see this unit, this command squad, I can straight kill the leader. And there's a good chance, considering how this army is, that I could do that by turn 2 or 3. I feel like I almost Wrecking Ball. The new one's a little weird. The new one requires you to, like, hug people in a corner. But the way this works, I can actually merge the Flamer squad with this squad and just pile drive it up mid as, like, a full unit. And then try to have my demons hold the back line. Because these are 1 OC each. They could go to objectives. They could stand on objectives. These things could kill the Scout Sentinel pretty fairly easily. And then his entire army has to just keep dumping everything it has into this 10-man squad to try to kill it before this guy gets within 24 of their leader and just murders them. Because, dear God. Always, Andy. I feel like you'd have to get a blood transfusion while that's happening. It's a reference to one of my favorite comedy shows that never went anywhere called Testes. Look it up. Let's see what the new Combat Patrol looks like on my phone. Astra Militarum. They've got 3 Combat Patrols. Oh, if I know one of these guys who's playing, there is a mild chance he brings the White Dwarf Combat Patrol with the Tarox or whatever it is. Yeah, the Tarox. 10 wounds, T8. Oh, dude. Dude, Testes was such a good show. With 2 absolutely unknown comedians. It was so good. So Karsk's Gunners is the one I think I could easily handle. The Strike Platoon, I think one of them brings the Strike Platoon. Which, I mean, that's just durable. Tempestus Scions for days. The side effect of the med he was on was like super constipation. He hadn't pooped in like a month. So the horse one, what's this? Kasserkin, Drayden, and the Attilans, which you only get oh no, you do get, looks like what, 2 squads of Attilans? I actually kind of worry about the Attilans. Their lances, oh dude, I die to these. I die to these all day. I have to build a wall of demons between me and the Attilans. AP 2, damage 2, strength 6. Yeah, I die to these all day. Oh, dude. So Andy, you're from the group that understands what I do on the other side with the gaming YouTube stuff. And you've probably heard at least once from someone that I'm doing a LAN party. I feel like for at least 5 years there, every time we did a LAN party for like a week, which is usually how long they last, Blue Mountain State on repeat. It's so weird seeing him in like new shows. Freaking, oh god, now I can't remember his name. Oh, Tad. Seeing Tad in like new shows is, every time I see him, I'm like, that's just Tad, man. I can't get that out of my head. Tad Reacher, baby. So where do we go from here? Because the detachment, the way this is supposed to work, to my understanding, and this might change a little bit, at the very least, this guy, once we get to the 3rd game, we are in the 1,000 point narrative lists. Which means him at the helm. I don't know if I can readjust to this. Dude, when they went into that fantasy realm, when they were all on mushrooms or whatever, and that's how he opened the door. That's fantastic. At the very least, there's a high chance I spend 1 requisition to re-gear my Rubric squad. Because I don't want to get stuck with a Combat Patrol style Rubric squad. This is terrible. Full bolt guns. Freaking Banner of Flame. Definitely the way to go. But where do we go? Because we have 500 points we can play with for demons. At the very most, at peak. I don't have to go that far. Dude, Blue Mountain State was just like watching a long-running State Troopers or any of the Broken Lizard movies. Like, that's all that felt like the whole time. It was great. So things we have access to. I do feel like, considering double Astra Militarum, I'm going to need anti-tank. And since the guy that I have who could possibly get me a ton more Screamers can't get me them anytime soon, I thought he'd be there tomorrow. He's not. That kind of sucks because that would be key. Running 2 full-size squads of Screamers and then 1 scout squad of Screamers would be so perfect. Because that's... Oh, that might actually be too much. I mean, they're useful, but 80 points for 3? Because it's like that, a full-size squad of Screamers. At small scale, I think I dip into Blue Horrors and Pink Horrors probably at that point. To be obnoxious on the field, mostly. Once we go to the large-scale game, if he gives me the okay to use the Lord of Change, we'll do that. Wait, are Blue Horrors battle line? Why are they battle line with 0 OC? I think... Okay, so 160. Wait, did they change them? Nope, still 0 OC. It's literally, it's garbage. Battleline unit, but doesn't really have access to things Battleline can do. It's like, okay, cool. Thank you. Pink Horrors for 115, so that's 275. Can I double Blue Horror at that point? I think that's legit. This would have told me if it's not. Oh my god, I think I know who I'm going to be fighting tomorrow. Oh no. Oops, did I do that? Better give him... Phalrix kept running, ignoring the sound of small arms fire behind him. That's my leader, Phalrix. The firefight was moving closer. Even through the distortion caused by the growing warp rift, he could still make out the difference between the types of weapons being deployed. Rapid staccato of radium weapons, surging hum of plasma discharges. His comrades returned fire, and was that bolter fire Astartes, probably the same Fenrisians that had been hounding his band for... Oh, yep. I'm going to be fighting the frickin' Space Wolves. There's no way. That was supposed to be a surgical strike and extraction insertion under cover of dim-witted world eaters. Rampaging antics had been easy, as had forced entry to the Mechanicus facility. The principal method of defense for the facility had been premised upon it being unassumed and thus hidden in plain sight, rather than upon the sound principle of overwhelming firepower. Everything had gone just had been ordained. How had this gone so wrong so quick? I kind of want to like mark. No, yeah. I don't think it. So there's a thing with our local. There's a thing with all Space Wolves players. They are rabid, which, yes, I get the dichotomy of that. But Space Wolf players love Space Wolves. So every time there's new stuff, every time something crazy comes out, every player of Space Wolf is like, how do I get my hands on all of it? How do I get enough stuff to have maximum everything for my army ready to go at moment's notice? Right? Like that's just how it is. So if this is a Space Wolf player I'm familiar with, he could go either combat patrol, and that's kind of a problem. I can kind of deal with the Terminators, but I am actually slightly worried about the I just moved 16 inches in a single turn Terminator or Dreadnought. Like, that feels a little shitty to me. Now, granted, the follow-up to that being a melee Reaver squad and then an intercessor squad being led by a melee guy, that doesn't feel so bad. Like, that's not terrible. Honestly, I'd probably run their leader in the lone op with stealth and just not attach him to the intercessors at all. Like, it feels like garbage to do that. I think he does run the new ones, which I think I can control a bit more. Because it is mostly about where do those Terminators come in. The ritual had been performed exactly to the specifications set forth by the Exalted One. Ritual was supposed to release the artifact to their possession, not destroy it. That destruction has been impressive. The resulting warp rupture was locally cataclysmic. The initial shockwave had torn Mechanicus and Thousand Sun bodies apart. Ooh, maybe I'm fine. No, because it said Fenrisian. Somebody apart, only to have the constituent parts sucked straight into a growing vortex like a singularity had been born. Fortunately, Ulfarix had been on the periphery of the initial blast, thrown across the test chamber, before the polarity had shifted to consume everything in proximity. As demons began to surge forth, I did tell him I was running the demon detachment, so this works. He recognized their ilk almost immediately. The followers of Khorne would not be subjugated by the likes of Ulfarix, and more importantly, were not particularly fond of Tzeentch's Chosen. The followers of Khorne. Oh no, maybe he was now he was running a small band of brethren with him. This had been a fool's errand. It is time to leave this mess behind, if that is even possible. Be there or not be there. I will be there at open to set up the tables. 2 games will run simultaneously. I will not tell you what your objective is, will be, what it might change to become, or what the outcome might achieve for you. That would ruin the fun. Instead, I will tell you this. One will be on a much smaller board than the other. One will have more players than... Oh, god damn it. One will have NPC action. One other will have other NPC actions. Hints are to be found in the 2 most recent fluff posts, but more is left to unhinted. Oh, no. I might be allied up with the player of Khorne. Which, I mean, that's just... Tzeentch and Khorne hate each other. The followers of Khorne would not be subjugated by the likes of Ulfarix, and more importantly, not particularly fond of Tzeentch's Chosen. Ooh. So it's going to be a 2v2, and then it's going to be a 1v1. Dude, so much of my brain right now wants to be like, hey, you have a typo in this sentence. Because he does. There was a typo up here. How had this so wrong so quickly? Is what it says, word for word. How had this so wrong so quickly? He forgot the word gone. And he's a lawyer. So I know it'll grate at him, at least for a little bit, that he had completely overlooked a single word in a single sentence. Please be prepared to at least take notes for your crusade force. I actually made... I wonder if I could show it to you guys. Yeah, I don't see anything on here that would matter all that much. I made a whole thing so I could track my leader's lore and arcana. Although, considering it's an 1,000-point game, I think this might be my only leader. Because right here on my app, I'm at 630 points. And I have one squad of Rubric Marines that's not even a full-size squad. And a bunch of demons. Which leads me to my, like, I need anti-tank, like real anti-tank. Which is probably going to be a Chaos Predator Annihilator. Although, how are the Mutalists? 30 points more. I do have a Vindicator. Although that feels like a dick thing to do. The standard Chaos Predator Annihilator. Says makes a ranged attack against target monster or vehicle unit that was hit by one or more psychic attacks made by a 1,000 Sun Psyker model. That could be a problem. From your army, this phase, you can reroll hit roll or reroll the damage roll. Yeah, I think I have to take a Predator Annihilator. And then I think I lean into MSU Rubric Marines. Because the Rubric Marines being near Blue Horrors and the Screamers gives them 4+ invulnerables. They definitely need a Soul Reaper cannon. They definitely need the Icon of Flame. I'll take maybe 1 or 2 more. Duplicate. So 2 squads of Rubrics. One would be led by my Sorcerer. What else do I go? 860 points out of 1,000. Struggle bus, man. That is basically Tzeentch. Actually, Tzeentch is more... Well, Tzeentch himself was technically. But his minions are feathery, usually. So I have 140 points to play with. Do I want something slightly more elite? What can I take for straight up 140 points? I could take a Mauler Fiend. We could send a Mauler Fiend down mid. Can't take Terminators. Oh, yeah. The power of wings. There's a mild chance I dip into my Fate Casters with Great Bows. And then maybe... Because that's 100 points. Actually, no, I think that's more than 100 points. God, at 140. Two Chaos Spawn squads are 130. A full-size squad of Flamers is 130. It's also garbage. I might take a Mauler Fiend. Well, no, I could take another leader. Can't take a Demon Prince. That sucks. I felt like a Demon Prince would probably be like the best bet, but I guess not. Maybe an Exalted on disc. That could be pretty poggers. Oh, this is what I hate about like the pluses and minuses of points. I would want an Exalted on disc for 100, which leaves me 40 points to play with, which I would want in the form of Zangor Enlightened with bows. Those are 50. God damn it. So I have 2 squads of Rubric Marines. I could crack into another leader type. Infernal Master wouldn't be bad, but that is only 85 of 140. Maybe I can grab some kind of like basic stuff after I grab an Infernal. What does the Infernal get me, though? Sustained hits on the weapons. He gets to, of course, upgrade one of his dice once per turn. So my turn, their turn. His ranged weapon is decent. It's okay. Doesn't do a ton of damage, though, and has a chance of killing him. So, But yeah, best bet. I'm fighting, looks like Space Wolves tomorrow. At the very least, that's my starting game. Which, that would be one battle line, which is probably going to be the melee guys out of that squad. And then their leader. If I get a good opener, that's literally the whole thing. If I can get a good opener attack on my opponent, he can't win. Because he's literally designed as my perfect prey. But because he moves, he'll most likely move faster than me. The map is going to be huge. I am the mission. Because this is supposed to be fully narrative, which means the mission could literally be I have to get through a room to get to the other side. And that would be a kind of a dumb mission. Because that would really just be like turn after turn of me waiting for him to get out of position so I can shoot him. And that doesn't feel good. I don't even know what rules we're going to have access to. Because it's just my sorcerer and the battle line. I don't know if they're going to give me the combat patrol rules. But then the next game being combat patrol, yeah, we would get them there. Could be interesting. What I'm really interested in is if I get to fight the Votann. I have not fought Votann yet. Votann got released at the end of 9th when I started joining back up. And ever since they dropped, I feel like at most stores I've been to, there's at least 2 to 3 players who are like, Votann are my thing. Votann are 100% what I play. I love Space Dwarves. I love that they have like weird Nordic, like heritage style existences and stuff. And it's great. It's awesome. It's super fun. But like none of them play. I never see hackathons. I never see any of the lists. I know they're strong. Like they're really strong. They'd probably do really well into me. Into most of the lists I could bring. I never see them. I actually got to fight Tau for the first time, I think this year, at Too Many Games, the convention I went to. That was the first time I ever got to play against Tau. The first time. And that was quite the struggle. I actually have no idea how we finish this 1,000-point list. Because again, I don't have access to enhancements, which that heavily sucks. Although enhancements from the demon list kind of don't really do anything. $50, $55, that's 100, that leaves 30. Ugh. There's a mild chance I take one more squad of Rubric Marines. There isn't a leader that's 40 points, is there? God damn, bro. Oh yeah, I'm probably going to get offs too. I only really wanted to stream for a short period of time. Talk about general strategies. This is going to suck, though. The detachment's definitely not great. The fact that the detachment doesn't really interact with itself. The thing I think is strong, the thing I do think is strong about it is you don't need a lot of leaders. Which I kind of like. It's also strong in the narrative sense that I don't have to worry about my demons getting wounded. Like, that's pretty cool. But I think the true strength is conceptual. Well, okay. The greatest strength is using Kairos. I'm not allowed to do that. But the true strength comes from the fact that Exalted Sorcerers on foot, when they're part of Rubric squads, give the squad a 4+ invuln. That's really good. And he revives them, too. That's really crazy impressive. That's fantastic. That is something you want. You want that in your life. So, using a sorcerer, I don't get that. It's still a 5+ invulnerable squad. If I don't have a sorcerer attached, it's a 5+ invulnerable squad. It does have a guy who can use rituals. Like, he's part of it. Everything's cool. Like, you can use this as a pretty decent tool for destruction. But a 5+ invuln is like, alright, it's okay. Guess what? A squad of demons is nearby. They're a 4+ invulnerable now. So you get this kind of state of being that allows a little bit of like back and forth where you don't have to spend points on leaders for squads. You can provide them specifically ranged and vulnerable of 4. You can provide them with a benefit like that just by having like a small cheap squad of like blue horrors or something nearby, which is nice. It's a nice way to like maximize on foot units without needing too many strong leaders in position. The thing that sucks, like I've brought up, is that blue horrors, they did reduce the cost on them, which I was like, oh, sweet. They got rid of their OC, which means they can't hold anything as an objective. I will need to go over the mission cards, though, because I think there are some mission cards that don't require OC. They just require something to be somewhere. At which point, blue horrors are fantastic. Because it's like, it's an 80-point squad that's... An enemy usually has to dump a ton of damage into it to kill it. And if they don't kill it the first try, there's a chance they're not going to kill it at all for that whole round. And you can technically prime them to be really scary. Because if I get enough brimstones and then I charge you with them, I have like, in a squad, I could have like 4 or 5 guys where I'm just like, let me do 5 mortals to you and just roll dice to see if it happens. That's a scary prospect into like big vehicles or big monsters. Just to be like, oh, you're at half now. From a 90-point unit, I've cut you to half. But the fact of the matter is, in order for the detachment to work, like, in a good way, Lord of Change. Because the whole thing is that as long as a psychic from the Thousand Suns is within, I want to say 6 inches of the Lord of Change, the Lord of Change can cast the Cabal spells. Which, I mean, that's basically you putting a Lord of Change up front and casting Doombolt. So it is going to be a key element for me to figure this out. To figure out what the narrative campaign is cool with. Because if they're cool with me using a Lord of Change, Genuinely, I think it's going to be a Lord of Change and a full-size squad of Screamers. And then just like a bunch of Rubric Marines and a Predator. That's about it. Because this is scary. The Lord of Change being played in a narrative event as a unit that could do serious damage at 1,000 points. While simultaneously, if it dies, if my opponent is able to kill it, good luck against that toughness and that 4+ invulnerable. If they're able to kill it, I do not take the wound roll. It's such a fun idea. He can't get upgrades, that does suck. But, My question is, I wonder if the event is going to get big enough that we do go past 1,000 points for the campaign by October. That could be really cool. We'll have to see. I think I kind of have my 1,000 point list sort of set. Like I said, I didn't want this to be a long stream because I do need to get some sleep. I also need to pack up quite a bit. I got to get a ton of terrain in a box and take it with me. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. It's good to see the stream actually works. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with the content on YouTube. Like, I know I've been kind of building things up, talking about teams and strategies and updates and stuff. I don't know. Because it only lasts so long. I have this whole video set for the Season 1 teams and Kill Team, but those are, I think at the end of this month, gonna no longer be competitive. They'll still be playable, but they just won't be competitive. So, like, I don't know if I just need to do quick overviews of the teams coming out. Even if I don't have them, because I am not directly affiliated with Games Workshop, so they don't send me early stuff like they do with other people. I think the bulk of it might be, I don't know, I might need to start figuring out how to do battle reports again. Battle reports are always big. What's up, J Peacock? But yeah, thanks for hanging out. If you're just popping in, I only was going to stream for about an hour and a half to 2 hours tonight before packing up for the narrative event tomorrow. Hopefully I can figure out what I want to do with the videos for YouTube, because I do really want to get back into that. Quick reminder, though, we do have a Twitch, and when I try to play games, that's usually where I play. Specifically just like games. I've been playing Warframe over there for a couple days this week. We can always hang out and talk about Games Workshop stuff, though. Completely fine. Completely fine. And I just need to remember to get a ton of pictures and videos for the narrative event. Maybe do a video about, doing narrative events. I've been so invested in competitive that, like, it might be refreshing to take a step back and play something that's just straight up like, losing is actually part of it. Yeah, I'm going to try to, I hate going to events. This is always so this is the crazy part. I wanted to fully record the tournament I went to at Too Many Games because it was awesome. But it also feels really weird when you're playing against an opponent and he's telling you like, oh, I'm going to fire you with this and this. And you're just like walking around with a camera recording stuff like, yeah, sure. It feels like you're a dick, right? Like it feels like they're trying to play against you and you're just barely listening. So having a person record, that's cool. But just being like, all right, middle of a game, let me pull my phone out. You can, you roll, you do stuff. Here, let me hand you my phone so you can record while I'm doing stuff. Just try to only get the hands, It's just a weird feeling. But if I can figure out a good way to record the entirety, because this is going to be a multi-month event, I think it could be fun. Could be fun. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. Maybe we'll stream a little bit during the days next week. until next time.